What is a custodian for a self-directed retirement account?
So the custodian is essentially the company or the entity that is holding the assets within an IRA for benefit of the beneficiary. So IRAs were designed so that there would be a custodian, some entity that has essentially the wherewithal to hold those assets and to vet the asset, to do the compliance on the asset. It does simplify, if you will, the process for the individual investor because they don't have to worry about the compliance, if you will, behind the scenes. There's some form filing, some values that have to be reported, but it's ultimately a custodian is just an entity by design that holds all of the registered assets for the beneficiary. If you decided to invest in a fix and you have a promissory note, we as the custodian or the IRA administrator would actually hold for your benefit that promissory note as an asset within your IRA. It's very different than a solo 401k. There's no custodian for a solo 401k. So, in essence, or in like theory, if you will, the asset itself, going back to that promissory note example, is held directly within the plan. And there's an administrator that's ensuring that that's a qualified asset and that the compliance is proper. And that administrator is actually the same person as the solo 401k participant. So I will say this while we're on this topic, the solo 401k is sometimes considered the preferred self-directed retirement account because that individual is controlling the whole thing. Whereas on the IRA side of the house, that's, there's a third party in there. The custodian is a part of the entire process. Some people like that security, if you will, or simplicity, but there's a trade-off, right? One has a lot more flexibility, whereas the other one, there's another party involved.
Okay, that's super helpful. And a question along those same lines. So let's say I'm a new investor and I want to set up a self-directed retirement account. Can you walk us through like operationally, like let's say I want to lend money as a PML on a deal, real estate, right? I know the closing date, and then I've been requested to go ahead and send my money in, right? So that the house
Yeah.
can close. So can you go through the differences of what this would look like if you have a solo 401k versus a self-directed IRA? Like, because what I'm envisioning is, oh, I have to go to the bank, I submit all these papers, there's going to be a lag, a delay. So can you just walk us through like realistically what this kind of looks like specifically with Heritage IRA?
Yes, absolutely. So you've essentially going through this hypothetical. You're at the point now where you're ready to go into business with the borrower. You are the lender. You would first need to submit what's called a bidirection letter. It's ultimately a document to Heritage IRA saying I'm ready to engage in a transaction via a promissory note, and I'm the lender. It's about one page. You fill in the blank, essentially letting us know what type of investment it is. It's a promissory note. You're the lender. Once we have that and we have the details of who the borrower is within that bidirection letter and where we need to send money. In this case, let's just say we have to send it to a title company, um, or some other third party intermediary to help facilitate the promissory note. Or maybe it's just sending it directly to the borrower. We just need to know that information. So once we receive it, we review it, we ensure that it's a qualified investment, right? You can private money lend, and as long as it's not somebody in your direct lineage, we will go ahead and actually initiate the wire to the borrower. So you can see you've got to essentially gain our permission with an IRA, us being the IRA administrator. We'll take your funds, we'll move it to the borrower, and now we have also a copy of your promissory note by then. So the bidirection letter, the promissory note, we've collected all of that, we've retained it, and now we have that specific investment registered for you. Obviously, your borrower is going to pay you back in installments, whatever that looks like. Those funds have to be redirected to your IRA. So it'll actually come back to us directly. We place it back into your IRA until you're ready to deploy it again. We value that asset every single year with you. We ask you what the value is, the current value, the market rate. We report that to the IRS. Those are some of the operational or the mechanics to getting your funds from A to B, right? With an IRA custodian or administrator. On the solo 401k side, it's a little bit different because what you can actually do is just immediately, gather your promissory note from your borrower, come to agreement on the terms, and then immediately send out a wire transfer on your own. You could go to your bank account on your phone and you could wire the funds, the $50,000 to the individual borrower, and it's done. You give them your bank account information so that they can, let's just say ACH, or maybe even wire you the monthly installments or quarterly installments, whatever that looks like. So IRA custodian is involved in the whole process. You gain permission, we approve it, we send it out. That's like a 24-hour period. The solo 401k has that feeling of the checkbook control that allows you to just go and transact as quickly as you can get it done.
Okay, thank you. And just to be clear, you have to qualify for a solo 401k, correct? Like
You
not
really,
anyone can just sign up for a solo 401k. Is that right?
that is exactly right. You have to be eligible with self-employed income. So you have to essentially prove that you have ongoing business or trade. That could be, like I mentioned earlier, maybe you're moonlighting after work hours, or you could just be a full-fledged self-employed individual, and you have to be able to pay yourself a salary from that self-employment.
Hey there, it's Andrea. If you enjoyed this video, hit subscribe so you never miss another one. Thanks.